Good morning, welcome to this mini guide of 10 tips. This is the first one where I'll be talking about sending behavior and how Gmail detects spam at the usage level, so that when using it in N8N automations, we don't have problems, and our emails are much more effective. I've been seeing that many people have sent emails to my contact address, which you have in the description in the channel information itself, and many people send me details like, I don't know, when sending a message, for example, and we add options. We have to select append N8N attribution and deselect it, for example. Why? Because if you send me an email with this, what you'll be doing is sending me the N8N watermark, okay? That's just one example, not to mention the errors I've seen. So I thought making this guide would be really helpful for those who aren't too familiar with automations, network regulations, like in this case, emails and such, okay? So the first tip is don't send too many messages in a row, alright? If our account is new, okay? That is, if we're suddenly starting to create automations, suddenly sending a large volume of messages, well, that can be a problem, right? For example, it'd be best to send around 30 messages per hour for a new account, about 100 messages a day for a normal account, okay? And up to 300 messages, 500 messages per day, if the account already has a bit of history, legitimate activity, and age, alright? Sending 100 emails in 5 minutes from a new account means that practically 90% of the time will end up in spam, okay? Because the email itself detects that something's up and that we're a bot or whatever, which isn't what we want. No matter how personalized the message is, we can't send such a high volume of messages, okay? If we need to send that many messages, it might be better to change domains, alright? Or rather change email addresses. In other words, if we're writing with our first email and we've already sent 50 or 100 messages, we switch to the second one, okay? And so after about a month, we can start sending 200 and so on. Let's take it slow, alright? It's not about conquering the world in a day, but taking a small bite every day. Alright, let's talk about the second tip. Okay? And the second tip when sending emails, let's go to a separate project and prevent these emails from ending up in spam. We have the send underscore message here. It would be very important to put a wait, okay? And not just any wait. Here we can set it to wait 5 seconds, thus avoiding sending messages in bulk between each message. Although the AI agent itself, when generating the message, if we're generating the message through an AI agent, because if we're using a template already, we're doing it terribly wrong. If we're using an intelligence agent, if we're using an artificial intelligence agent, yes, it will already take a little time to generate the message, but if we put a wait, even better. And I can tell you something even better, which is to get a JavaScript code, okay? We'll go to ChatGPT wait.io and tell it, alright, in JavaScript language, right? The other one is in beta. I tell it, in JavaScript, generate a code that gives me a random number between 100 and 250. We copy it. You can use this same one. We paste it. Execute step. Okay, this code doesn't work. For now, we have it. 107, 132, 156. You see the weight is random, right? Okay, that's exactly what we want for the weight to be random. And now we basically go here to wait. We take this variable, okay? Here we put expression, remove this, and put the random number here. And now we'll be waiting randomly for what the code says, okay? This way we can send messages randomly without any excessive consumption or anything like that. And this will allow us to send maybe 50 emails over 2 or 3 hours, okay? And this way, if mail detects automatic sending patterns when there are identical intervals, well, that won't happen, okay? Very good. The third tip is to analyze the conversion rate. Well, by sending emails directly from Gmail, we don't have much way to know the conversion rate from N8N, but we can track the response rate, right? Which can already help us. Ideally, we'd know open and click rates too. Typically, it should be around 15 to 20%, okay? If over 10 to 15% mark as spam or delete unopened, future messages may go to spam. Since we can't directly know open rates, I'll give you some tips to improve them, okay? The first, as I've said, is to add and remove the append attribution option. Secondly, perhaps create a subject line, right? A more personalized introduction for the person we're sending the message to, something that catches their attention, okay? There's no need to create urgency, but if we want to, go ahead. It's true that if we overdo the copywriting, that is, with those more persuasive messages, we might be entering a bit into clickbait territory that Gmail itself could immediately detect as spam, okay? So maybe a more friendly tone would be better without trying to promote too much, just commenting on the situation. Alright, hey look, I've noticed on your website that you have this issue, or I've seen your advertising on Google Ads about, I don't know, finding gym subscriptions, and I thought that since I work on automating with N8N, no, something closer, not so much like, hey, I do N8N automations, would you like these services? No, that's not necessary, okay? The first thing we're interested in with the initial message is to make contact with that person, not so much to sell them directly from the first message. It also depends on your strategy, of course. If your strategy is to send 4,000 emails a day, well, wow, that's up to each person, right? Whatever works for them. It's a matter of assessing each case. So the ideal would be to have a response rate to get people to reply to you. Of course, if you send 100 messages and no one has replied, well, that's not good, okay? It's true that you'll find many people respond automatically as there are bots or, well, AI agents designed to automatically reply when receiving an email message, okay? So keep that in mind too. And don't spend 30 minutes talking to a bot. Alright, the fourth tip is to always personalize the content, okay? Email filters detect repetitive templates and generic messages. If we send 100 identical messages, even if we change the name variable like hello Peter, hello Jane, followed by the same template, email gets tired and knows it's not good for their platform, so it sends it to spam. Got it? So it's not good for their platform, so they send it to spam, okay? So it'd be interesting to obviously have these name changes, these references to something specific, right? Referencing something specific, for example, if you're contacting that person, it's for a reason, right? Why? Why are you contacting that person and why that specific person? Well, it's interesting to include that too, isn't it? For example, we're contacting someone who has a boat or, I don't know, has a promotion on WhatsApp, where if you contact them, they give you 20% off in their store. So you just reach out and say, hey, I saw you have this promotion, and I'm calling because I'd like to introduce you to this possibility of automating it, so you can do it automatically and save these hours, etc., right? A bit of quality in the messages. It's true that obviously if we make the messages super personalized, we won't be able to send them in bulk. But if we already specify the email and reason for contact in our Google Sheets table, then if we send it to ChatGPT, for example, we contact this person to propose a WhatsApp bot because I've seen that such and such. If you give this information to ChatGPT or to the AI agent, a language model you'll use for your artificial intelligence agent, it'll be better prepared and more focused to correctly create that more specific and personalized email, okay? Therefore, sending the same text 50 times with just the name changed, well, it's almost guaranteed to be spam, right? For example, instead of saying, hello, I'm writing to offer you my services, you could say, hi, John, for instance. I saw your website, the website name, and I think we can improve together, etc. Well, from there, everyone can add their own creativity. All right, let's move on to the fifth tip, which is avoiding suspicious words and formats, okay? Even in personal messages, email uses text filters, okay? For specific words. For example, if you're contacting someone and you write to them with too much copywriting, so to speak, it would immediately draw attention in an exaggerated way, like, I don't know, free offer, talking about quick money. Of course, if you send a message right away telling them to reply super quickly, that it's ending soon, and so on, well, it's not just that email will detect it as spam, it will detect it as phishing, okay? As an attempt at fraud, okay? And if email doesn't detect it, many people who open your email will immediately think it's a scam and mark it as such. That's why it's important to keep it personal, okay? We shouldn't be sending everything in a sales tone, but rather in a more conversational tone, without shortened links like briefly, and without unnecessary attachments and such. In other words, it's best to avoid suspicious words and formats, okay? The format should be plain text, no need to complicate things. Look, we can make it a bit more aesthetically pleasing if we want and create a message with HTML and all, but well, that's up to each person's preference. The main thing is to keep it as plain text without much complication. In the end, we're creating an automation. We don't want to triple the cost of sending each email. It's not necessary, okay? Very good. The sixth tip is to warm up the account a bit, okay? If the account is new, we'll take it slow, alright? If you've just created an account and you're going to start sending emails, the ideal would be to send about 20 emails a day in the first week. In week 2, send 30 to 50 emails a day. Week 3, then 80 to 150 emails a day, okay? The thing is, if your account has few previous sends, Gmail becomes suspicious of a sudden volume increase. Of course, if you have an account that you've never sent an email from, or the last email you sent was 5 days ago, and you normally send one a week, okay, or 10 a week, it doesn't matter, and suddenly you go and send 500, clearly, from a platform's perspective, suddenly someone is using a lot of resources for free without any kind of justification or anything, and Gmail says, hey, this is spam until proven otherwise. So clearly we have a problem there. Therefore, if we're going to use N8N seriously, creating an old account or warming it up first with real emails would be ideal. Also, if for some reason we need to send those 100 emails a day right from the start, and 10-20 emails a day the first week is a bit annoying, we can use multiple email accounts. It's not the best solution, but well, we can use several email accounts and send 10-20 messages from each one, and that's it, okay? Alright, let's move on to talk about the 7th tip. We should use email addresses that look human, okay? I've seen many people contact me with emails, but these emails, normally an email would be at gmail.com, right? That would be the domain. Well, some people contact me with at xyz.com. If you contact me with an email like this, with this domain, which I know is temporary or for more low-cost businesses, I'm not going to reply, okay? It's not personal, but they contact you with this, with a temporary email, and then the message is just pitiful, okay? I'm not going to waste my time replying to you, so please use at gmail.com. use serious names, okay? Whatever you want, okay? I won't write an email with a specific domain because then I'm like giving out data, right? But no, you can use a first name dot last name, okay? Honestly, I should apply this myself, right? Myself. First name dot last name, okay? We can use the company name itself, alright? If you're speaking from your company name, which is N8N, you won't talk from, I don't know, Viva la Fruta, you know? Of course, it can't be that someone contacts me with the name sales123@gmail.com or work email. Clearly, you're already showing a lack of professionalism and premium quality, right? If you can get a business email, that's perfect, okay? An Outlook, through Outlook, that's perfect, alright? But it's not entirely necessary. A Gmail address will do for now, okay? So just keep that in mind. Very good. Now let's move on to an interesting tip, which is that many people, for some reason, get motivated when sending emails and include too many images and too many links. The ideal is one link per email. If you're going to include a link, make it just one. Don't send me 20, okay? Because more than 3 links, heavy images, beyond greatly increasing the costs and resources for email, it's not necessary. I mean, in your first email, all you need is to establish contact first, and then you can send the links you need to showcase your work, whatever you want, okay? But the first message is to make contact with the person and see if there's interest. In the end, we're making a cold contact with that person. They don't know us at all, we're introducing ourselves, etc. There's no need to be so aggressive and bombard them with links and such. You have to think that many people probably see the message like they'd see a WhatsApp message, okay? You look at it, read it, and sometimes don't even reply, even if it's from, well, your partner, right? Speaking directly. I mean, sometimes you get the message, your friend, you read it, yeah, fine. I'll reply in an hour when I have time to respond properly. But of course, if you send me a message with 40 links, well, obviously, if I have to open link after link for something that maybe at first I might not even gave me somewhat interested, but not really, well, I'm not going to open them because I'll get a laziness that won't make any sense. So avoid that, okay? The message should be as precise as possible. No need to fill it with so many links. Very good. This is the 9th tip. Don't send to the same recipient many times without a response, okay? If someone hasn't replied to you. It's true that it might be interesting to send a follow-up message 2 at most. That is, you send the first message and then 2 more. Spaced out, obviously, from 3 to 5 days and so on, okay? But sending 5 emails in 2 days without any response, you're going to be sent straight to spam. Simply because you're being too pushy. I mean, some people will send you to spam after the second message, for example, me, okay? Not for any particular reason, but because I already know the trick. So by the second message, I either send you to spam or unsubscribe from the newsletter that I'm not interested in, you know? If I'm interested, I'll look it up. So you should keep that in mind. When you send a second or third message, the chances of being sent to spam compared to the first increase. What happens? That, as the rate of also improves interaction, it might be worth risking sending that second message. The third one might be a bit much, okay, but well, that's that. But of course, sending 5 emails to someone or 10 messages like, hey, answer me. In the end, your email will be sent straight to spam, okay? Automatically, which is something I've seen a lot. And I've seen many newsletters go straight to spam because of this. Because suddenly you subscribe to the newsletter and within a day or 2, they've already sent you 4 links, 5 images, 3 videos, and a documentary talking about how incredible their product is when, well, you don't need to send me an email every 8 hours. Not for any reason, but because I'll be sleeping during one of them, okay? To begin with. So just 2 or 3 messages and take it easy, okay? Alright, and for the 10th tip, I'll give you a few bonus ones, okay? Well, I've already explained this one, but anyway. The append, right? To prevent email messages from going to spam, we can go here, add options, okay? When sending an email message through N8N, add options, append N8N attribution and uncheck it. Sorry. Why? Because this basically says, this email has been sent automatically with N8NA. That's already bad, okay? It already gives a bad impression, but it even adds the N8N link, which is one more link we don't need, right? Then, well, the function I've already mentioned of putting a code that generates a random number, okay? Between, let's say, 100, 150, 247, and then make it weight that random number. Okay, that's perfect. Important. It would also be interesting to mix different templates with variables, okay? Why different templates? Well, to vary the message a bit, okay? Different templates aren't necessary. Maybe just create different branches with different agents, all right? Picture it like this, different branches with different agents, and each agent, more or less, I'm not saying go crazy, but sends a message a bit more specific to that person. You can use a classifier, okay? I don't know. We're contacting this person for this specific reason because we've seen them through Google AdSense. So we contact them for this. This one we contact because we like their product. So we contact them for that. And this way you create 3 agents that generate different messages, creating more variety. Email sees that the emails are even more personalized and so on, right? It can be done. Then this tip I've given several times, but it's to alternate between accounts if you need more volume of messages, okay? We can switch between email accounts, so instead of sending 20 messages a day from one account, we can send 20 messages a day from each account we have, okay? As long as the account name is professional, right? If not, don't waste your resources. Also, here's the mega tip. Test by sending messages to yourself and check if they land in the primary inbox, promotions, or spam, okay? Look, don't send them to... If you send it from name.lastname@gmail.com to the same email, it doesn't make sense. Send it to another account, okay? Send it to a friend and ask, hey, where did the email go? Did you get a notification? Did it go to spam? And so on, okay? So, to summarize, no more than 150 emails per day per account for more advanced accounts. A random delay between 30 seconds and 2 minutes, okay? Or even longer. Personalize and avoid spam words, maintain a good open and response rate, do a gradual warm-up if the account is new, and not much else, okay? Lots of message personalization and so on. I hope this guide has been useful to you. See you in future videos.